Hello everybody and welcome to another worship spotlight, and today we are looking at the song The Servant King. So The Servant King is one of those songs that we, at Destiny at least, we sometimes sing at Christmas. You know, it's not one of our traditional carols as such, but it is a song that we like to sing around Christmas time because it talks about Jesus coming to earth as a baby, and it's got all that kind of imagery in that you would expect to find with songs around Christmas. It's a song that was written by Graham Kendrick and released in 2001, and it is an awesome song. For me personally, it's got some lyrics in there that are just beautiful, and I've had my own personal moments of revelation with this song a few years ago that I'm going to tell you about. But also, it's such a great song because of its theology as well. Often, you've probably heard me loads talk about songs that are really simple, that honour God. And then there's the other side, isn't there, where there's songs that are full of rich theology. And that is this song. That is The Servant King by Graham Kendrick. So let's get into it. Well, my first experience with this song was from a really long time ago. My parents had a CD of Graham Kendrick, and so I've been listening to this song for probably the last 20 years, nearly, probably when it was released, 19 years. But I had a moment with this song. And my wife was singing it at Destiny. We had a company that came in and did like a little production for us one evening, which was really, really great. It was about the crucifixion and the story of the disciples and Mary, the mother of Jesus, around that story. And they came and did this production, and they asked somebody from the church, can you please come and sing this song? So Lucy said, yes, I'll sing it. And I remember vividly sat watching this awesome production that was really, really sort of emotional, and it was really dramatic, and it really brought that story to life. But then at the end, we had this song, The Servant King. And sometimes, songs hit you, don't they? And sometimes you can have those moments from God that just hit you, and God, He does something within you. And it can be a song, it can be something that a preacher says, it can be a moment with a friend, or a moment reading the Bible of revelation. And for me, that was one of those moments. And it wasn't new information for me, but I think I just had an overwhelming sense in that moment of what these lyrics were really saying. And it's one of the verses. It's not even the chorus or anything. It's one of the verses. And it says this: hands that flung stars into space, to cruel nails surrendered. And when Lucy sang that line in that song, in that moment, all those years ago with that production, it just hit me. And I was just overcome with what Jesus has done. I've been a Christian for lots of years, and I know what Jesus has done for me, and that's why I live my life like I do, because I am fully on board because of what Jesus has done. And I praise Him for what He has done, but sometimes there's a moment when God just moves you, and that was what happened for me. And the thought of this awesome God flinging stars into space, creating the universe, molding the universe, creating our world and the galaxies and our life. That same God with those same hands came for you and for me. And His hands were pierced by nails, and He hung on that cross for me and you. And there was a moment right then when that became even more real for me than it already was. And I moved closer to God in that moment and realized even more what a sacrifice He made for us, for me personally as well. And so I've got a real connection with this song because it has a real beautiful memory for me of just being overwhelmed with the love of God in that moment. Hands that flung stars into space, to cruel nails surrendered. What an awesome God he is. You know, the Servant King is such a great song as well because of its theology. And I don't know if you've ever thought about that, but the word servant and the word king, they don't go together. Graham Kendrick wrote this song for something called Spring Harvest. Some of you might have heard of Spring Harvest. It's a UK camp, sort of multi-denominational camp thing where you bring families and churches go together, and it's a big conference. And he wrote this song because the title of the conference that particular year was Servant King. Those were the two words. And Graham Kendrick says those two words just don't match up. And it intrigued him to write this song. You know, what's so amazing about Jesus, and especially in this little chapter of John that I'm going to read to you in a minute, is that he was a servant king. And that imagery of, like I've said before, about the same God who flung the stars into space to cruel nails, he came and washed people's feet, and to cruel nails surrendered as well. Our God became a man and became a servant. The King of the universe became a servant for you and for me. And any time I think about God being a servant and God coming down, because in Matthew 20:28, Jesus literally says that, doesn't it? He says, not to be served, but to serve, which is another lyric that Graham Kendrick used in this song. Not to be served, but to serve. And whenever I think about that, I think about this passage in John 13 where Jesus, he washes the disciples' feet. I've got it here. He came to Simon Peter, who said to him, Lord, are you going to wash my feet? Jesus replied, you do not realize now what I am doing, but later you will understand. You see, the reason Peter reacted so strongly is because Jesus was the last person who should be washing anybody's feet. Jesus was their master, he was their teacher, he was their rabbi, and if anything, they should have been washing his feet. So the fact, there's this beautiful moment where Jesus, not just their rabbi, not just their teacher and master, but the God of the universe, Jesus, who was there in the beginning, as John says, got down on his knees and he washed the dirty feet of the disciples. And if there's not a stronger moment of imagery of Jesus' servanthood to us, he came not to be served, not to serve. I don't think there's a stronger image than that. And I always think about that whenever I listen to this song. We're going to play you a little video that we played on Sunday now of Lucy singing this song. And bless her, she sang it so brilliantly. She had what you don't know is that she had a really, really sore throat when we recorded it. And she did one take. And that was it. She did one take on her keyboard and one take with her voice, and that was it. And she belted it out. And I felt the same as I did when I heard her sing it back in that production at Destiny a few years ago. So, enjoy. While you're listening to this song, why don't you just think about these words and this rich theology that's in this song, and think about what Jesus has done for you and what he's done for me. Enjoy.
Servant King, he calls us now to follow him. as a daily offering of worship to the servant King. There in the garden of tears, my heavy load he chose to bear. His heart with sorrow was torn. Yet not my will, but yours, he said. This is our God, the servant King. He calls us now to follow him, to give our lives as a daily offering of worship to the servant King. Come see his hands and his feet, the scars that speak of sacrifice, hands that flung stars into space, to cruel names surrendered. This is our God, the servant King. He calls us now to follow him, to give our lives as a daily offering of worship to the servant King. So let us learn how to serve, and in our lives enthrone him, each other's needs to prefer. For it is Christ we're serving. This is our God, the servant King. He calls us now to follow him, to live our lives as a daily offering of worship to the servant King. This is our God, the servant King. He calls me now to follow him, to give my life as a daily